So thank you for joining us today. My name is Deepshika and I'm a business manager with Paxate. We'll be investing this next 1 hour along with Paxate and Microsoft guys to learn how you can master your cloud business with the help of Cloud Ascent data. So this data is shared by Microsoft to all the partners, but are we really harnessing the goodness it gives to grow your business is something we can tune in and listen today. So on the agenda, first, Mr. Elliot Chandler, who's Global GTM Solution Director for Azure at Paxate, will cover what's Paxate OneCloud, how you can cloud ascend data to, grow your business, and how Paxate can help you on driving those new projects. And then Julie Cooper from Microsoft, who's Microsoft Partners Solution Sales Manager, will cover Azure SMB solution designations for FY25. Maybe I'll leave it to Elliot to kind of get started now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So pleasure to be here. Yes. So as Deepshika mentioned, I'm Elliot Chandler. I'm the Global Director for Paxate's Azure go-to-market business. Previously to being at Paxate, I was at Microsoft as a technology strategist for 5 years, working with indirect providers such as Paxate. So lots of industry experience in this area, and you'll see some of that come through in today's presentation with some of the information I've been able to gather. But I kind of want to talk you through what the concept of OneCloud is and how we can help use that to grow our MSP business, and then how we can use Cloud Ascent data to really fuel that opportunity. So the first thing I want to run through is what exactly is the opportunity of OneCloud. So this is the stat that I use for a lot of our partners, which is when I was at Microsoft, I noticed that less than 8% of Microsoft's partners are able to transact all solution areas. So what I mean by that is Biz Apps and Dynamics, Power Platform, Modern Workplace, and Azure. So about 8% of Microsoft partners were able to do that. But that 8% of partners were responsible for 60% of Microsoft's revenue globally. So we started to kind of piece together that these partners, although they were only representing 8%, they were responsible for most of the success and revenue coming through Microsoft. They were the most successful partners that Microsoft had. So we wanted to kind of sit down and understand how can we replicate that success with our partners. So some of the stuff that we took from this is going to be what makes these partners successful. So the things that we kind of noticed was when we saw customer churn from these partners, 80% of customer churn came from customers who are only purchasing Modern Workplace. And that's the vast majority of MSPs today who are transacting predominantly Modern Workplace. And customers who are just transacting that are the most likely to churn. And then if we flip that on its head and look at the other end of the spectrum, when we look at customers who are transacting Modern Workplace, Dynamics, and Azure, they make up 0.01% of customer churn across the board. So we noticed that if you are able to transact all of those solutions, you're generating more revenue, your customers are growing quicker, and your customers are the least likely to churn. So there was a lot of conversation around how we kind of make our partners the most successful partners that we can, and how we enable them to transact. And then the question came, well, is there enough opportunity within our partners' customers to be able to transact all of these workloads? It's all very well and good training our partners to be able to, but if we look at the numbers, do customers want to buy Azure? Do they want to buy Dynamics? So I started looking at these numbers specifically for the APAC region. So what we started to see was in our Cloud Ascent data, and I'll dig into exactly what that is and how we access it a little bit later, we see $115.5 million of annual revenue in what we call an act now state. So that is customers who are basically ready to transact. You can engage with them. They have a high likelihood to consume a workload, and they have a high fit for cloud. So we see $115 million in that area. When we break that down to Azure specifically, that looks like $30.6 million. And this is in Paxate's existing partners and their existing customers. So if Paxate didn't sign a single new partner for the next year, and none of our partners added a single new customer, there is still $30.6 million of Azure opportunity in an act now state. So customers who are ready to transact. But we see that only 40% of our customers today are using Azure. So there's lots of growth in that area. And what's really interesting is when we talk about these being act now. So these are ready to transact existing partners and their existing customers. So to capture this opportunity here, you wouldn't have to go and add 5 or 6 new customers to kind of hit these revenue goals. We're looking at existing customer base. So we see that the opportunity is there and that there is value for our partners in being able to transact all of these workloads. And that's where OneCloud comes in. So I want to talk through what exactly is OneCloud, how we approach the concept of OneCloud, and then we're going to look at Cloud Ascent data to really start digging into what is the real world opportunity in your existing customer base, and we'll kind of go through how you can identify that opportunity. So first of all, OneCloud, its very simple state is the Microsoft suite. This is Office, it's Dynamics, it's Azure, and it's Power Platform. We see it related to the Microsoft customer framework in here. So the MSEM framework, which is listen and consult, inspire and design, empower and achieve, realize value, and manage and optimize. This is the life cycle that Microsoft want customers to go through before they start consuming solutions. How are we listening and consulting? How are we inspiring and designing? How are we empowering them to achieve more? Making sure they're realizing value, then we manage and optimize, and then it starts again. It's a cyclical relationship. And OneCloud is exactly the same. So we have some examples of this here today. So typically, when we're adding a customer in the SMB world, it looks a little bit like this, where we start with maybe Business Basic and Defender for Business, and we move on to including something in the Dynamics world, perhaps Business Central. And in Azure, we can do something very basic like hybrid identity and some baseline security, and then start consuming Power BI as a workload. So we have base workloads in that customer space. But what we start seeing with OneCloud is once they've consumed that stack, we could start having, well, what's the next solution? We could potentially introduce Dynamics Sales Professional. We could then potentially go ahead and introduce something like Azure Files. And then all of a sudden, they're going to want to start consuming Power Automate to work with Dynamics and work with Azure. And then what that does is we go right back to the very beginning, and it helps them move up to business premium. So one of the other things that we noticed with OneCloud is when we start transacting all of the cloud workloads, their modern workplace licensing tends to go from basic into premium, and in some cases even enterprise as well. So by allowing your business to transact Dynamics or Azure or Power Platform, it's increasing the health of your existing modern workplace business. So this continues again. We go through the stack and we start at the very beginning and keep upgrading, and we add additional workloads, and it becomes a very cyclical relationship. We can add customer service and enterprise, Azure Virtual Desktop, Power Apps, and all of a sudden we're consuming an E5 license with that customer. And it's not just by upselling E5, but it's by introducing more value to the customer in additional workloads. And this is the kind of mentality and approach we want to coach out to our partners to make you part of that 8%. Because if you're part of that 8%, you'll be generating more revenue, your customers are far less likely to churn, and then you'll be growing at a much faster rate than your competition. So this is something that Pax8 tries to enable across the board, and we can help in every single area, whether it's enablement, helping you with deployment, or even just helping you find the opportunities. So that's really where I want to take us next is how do we see your addressable market? It's all very well and good me sitting here and saying, this is great, the opportunity is there, we can go and sell, but we need to see it to make it real. So that's where Cloud Ascent data comes in. Now, if you've not heard of Cloud Ascent data before this call, I want to reassure you that is not uncommon. Even when I was working at Microsoft with some of their largest partners across the globe, I would sit down and ask them about Cloud Ascent data, and their first question was almost always, what is Cloud Ascent data? So it's kind of one of the best kept secrets in Partner Center. You all have access to Microsoft's Cloud Ascent data today, and it is propensity data from your existing customer base across all Microsoft workloads. So if you add a customer in Modern Workplace, for example, let's say you sell like a basic Modern Workplace SKU, you will be able to see the Cloud Ascent data for that customer in Azure, Modern Workplace, Dynamics, and Power Platform. You'll be able to see their propensity to consume the next solution and which workloads you can focus on for that customer across the board. So I want to kind of break down a little bit of how Microsoft gets this this final number of, okay, this customer will consume X workload, because there's a lot that goes into it. So we kind of break it down in a few key areas. One is buyer intent, and the other is account fit. Now, Microsoft won't ever really give their secret recipe of to how they figure this out. There's hundreds of flags that they use as they build up a database on each customer to determine what workload they consume next. That could be what licenses are they buying and using? What licenses are they buying and not using? Is this customer growing? Are they shrinking in size? It could be something as small as, has this customer used their Microsoft account to access a certain white paper to understand new technology? Lots and lots of things, hundreds of different flags, and they'll use this to determine buyer intent and account fit. And based on this, they will break them down into one of four key areas. This is act now, evaluate, nurture, and educate. Now, the warning I give at this point is not really a warning, but the advice I give is that I am either a very lazy or a very efficient man. My advice to you would be focus on the act now opportunity. These are sales ready customers that Microsoft determined to be a high account fit and high buyer intent. They are ready to go. There will be enough act nows in your Cloud Ascent data today for you to focus there and still have a lot of opportunity to chase. If you're new to Cloud Ascent and you've not looked at that data set and you're not transacting all cloud areas to your customer, there will be a lot of act now opportunities. So we can focus there. But just to give you the complete picture, evaluate, these are partners that are marketing ready. So we can be sending them white papers. We could be sending them personalized marketing content based on workloads. We should be basically promoting these workloads to them. Nurture and educate, I kind of group together. These are ones that are not really ready to consume those workloads. We should make them aware of what's happening and make them aware of new cloud technologies, but they're not going to be your most immediate opportunities to go and sell to. So it's worth knowing where they are and marketing to them, but more from an awareness side of things. And then next we have kind of what this ends up looking like. So within Pax8, we build a dashboard which shows you all of the opportunity in your existing customer base. We make it very graphical, very user-friendly. If today you just went into your partner center and tried to access your Cloud Ascent data, it would just be an Excel spreadsheet with lots of customers, 60, 70 different columns with all the different workloads and yeses and nos. It's not great to see, but we've created a dashboard here at Pax8, which does a couple of things. So one, it will group them by workload for you. So you see on this screenshot, we have Microsoft Azure, 365, and then Dynamics and Power Platform. We will break down the number of act nows versus the educates and versus the enable. You'll have all of the different areas broken down. And then crucially, we assign a dollar value to each opportunity. And this is where you can customize to. So we do this based off of averages that we see. For example, in Azure, there is a $1,040 average consumption per customer. This is a wide range. These can be customers who are just putting one backup workload in Azure just to test it, and they've left it there for a number of years, right up to customers who are consuming the full suite of Azure, spending $20,000, $30,000 a month, right? So it's worth customizing this to fit your customer base, but we found an average of $1,000 gives you a rough idea of the numbers in your customer base. So we'll put the link to the Academy course in the chat window so that you have this. But there is a Cloud Ascent Data Academy course in the Pax8 Academy, which will walk you through in detail how to understand your Cloud Ascent data, what the dashboard looks like, and also how to build your own dashboards as well. Also, our Pax8 team are very, very familiar with building these dashboards and walking through as well. So if you want to reach out to your account manager and ask us to run through your Cloud Ascent data with you, look at what customers are consuming and what they could be consuming next, we can absolutely do that for you to make sure that we're staying on top of these opportunities. So, as I said, it is available for you today. I'll give you the information on where to get it. It's just in your Partner Center. So if you have access to Partner Center, in your Insights tab, this is where you'll see all of the reports that you can gather on your customers. Within the Downloads hub of Insights, you'll see a report called Cloud Ascent. This report is where you will see that Cloud Ascent data. So you can go in there, you can access it. That will be the raw data for all of your customers. It will be very overwhelming when you download it for the first time. There's lots of information, so I highly recommend using the Pax8 dashboard. We make it a lot friendlier for you to see. And also, if you'd like to have a review with someone at Pax8 to go through your Cloud Ascent data, we can absolutely do that. I will make myself available to run through those with you as well. More than happy to do that. And that's how we can kind of see what the real world opportunity in your existing customer base is for all cloud workloads. And I want to be really, really clear here is even if you are a partner today who just sells modern workplace, you don't sell any Dynamics, you don't sell any Azure, no Power Platform, you predominantly sell Microsoft's modern workplace, you will still have the Cloud Ascent data for all of the Azure opportunities, all of the Dynamics opportunities, and all of the Power Platform opportunities in your customer base. So sometimes partners will tell me they don't expect to have a lot of value in their Cloud Ascent data because they don't sell any Azure today. It actually means there's probably going to be the most value in the Azure section or in the Dynamics section. If you're not selling that to your customers today, that's probably where most of your opportunities are going to be. So we can kind of take you through that journey, that step by step on how to understand it, how to start talking to customers, and how to start having those conversations around Azure today as well. So now that we kind of know this data exists, what's next? So I would strongly recommend consuming the Academy course and investigating your data. Find out exactly what act nows are in your customer base and have the conversation with Pax8 around what's the dollar value there. How can we help you chase and close down that opportunity, and potentially even work with our teams to go and close that opportunity as well. The second, if you don't already use Microsoft's digital marketing content, I highly recommend it. It is a very, very good resource. What I tend to do with partners when I review their Cloud Ascent data, we look at their Cloud Ascent data for Azure. We identify one or two key workloads. Typically, it's something like SQL migration or Azure Virtual Desktop, where they have multiple customers that are in a state where they should be consuming those workloads. What we do is we then move from Cloud Ascent into Microsoft's digital marketing content. This is a free resource to all Microsoft partners, and we select the campaigns that directly relate to that workload. So some of the objections I get from partners sometimes when I look in the Azure data is that we don't have a marketing team, or we don't have a sales team that can go and chase these opportunities. We have a few technical teams and only a few sellers. We can't be putting a lot of effort and resource into chasing these new workloads. That's where digital marketing content comes in handy. In the Microsoft portal, they have pre-made campaigns that are solution specific. For example, there is an AVD campaign that is designed for SMB that allows you to go and target customers with SMB friendly workload information. So you can see in Cloud Ascent, I have 15 customers who are an act now for AVD, for example, so Azure Virtual Desktop. You can then go into DMC, you can get the Azure Virtual Desktop campaign, and you can automate that through your own marketing tool. You can automate it through Outlook, and you can say, send emails to these customers on week 1, week 2, and week 3, and you can have content for your sellers, content for your customers, and content for your internal technical team to upskill them each week. So it's a pre-canned resource, very, very valuable. I always recommend that partners start there. The third piece is going to be around enablement. So we have lots of hands-on labs at Pax8 that we're going to be rolling out right through to the end of the year. So I would keep an eye out for this, especially in your region. We're going to be bringing in new hands-on labs. This will be fundamentals. It'll be Azure migration, workload specific around AVD and Fabric. So these will be completely free to our partners, where you get to be hands-on with this technology and allow your teams to start understanding what it means to deploy an AVD environment or deploy a migration scenario, or even just get to grips with the fundamentals of deploying a VM in Azure. We'll cover it all, and it'll be completely free to our partners, and it's going to be all done through Pax8. So I would keep an eye out for that in our monthly updates. We'll be making sure to promote all of our hands-on labs to our partners. And then comes the next piece. It looks like I've lost control on this. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Is how we can help directly. So you'll see DCO and IAR pop up a lot. These are investment programs. So this is the data center optimization program and the indirect activation reward. What these are is they are focused incentives for our partners who are interested in growing their Azure business. And it allows us to pay incentives to you for hitting growth targets in those areas. So if you're brand new to Azure, IAR might be the most appropriate step for you, and it helps you get your business from $0 up to $10,000 a month. And we pay you for hitting certain milestones in that area. And the other is data center optimization. This is a bit of a larger incentive program, usually for partners with a data center who are new to Azure. And when they want to migrate from traditional on-premise data centers into Azure, we will give additional incentives on top of that. So if you're planning to grow your Azure business and you want some incentives on top of that, I would highly recommend these programs. Reach out to your account manager. They can give you all the information, and we can work with you to make sure that you're included. The next is a team I'm very, very pleased that Paxate have, which is our professional services team. They make me look good in every single region across the globe. They help with deployments for our partners in Azure. So when you're onboarding a customer, and if the deployment is particularly complex, or even if you're able to do the deployment, but you're just kind of at capacity right now, our team can be used as an extension of your team. So our pro services are a brilliant team who can do the deployment for you. It is a paid for engagement, but in some scenarios, we can fund that for you as well. So if there's a particularly large migration, or we have a customer coming from on-prem into cloud, there are scenarios where we can fund that as well. So I would always recommend looking into using our professional services team, who can kind of just make those deployments very, very smooth and easy for you. We mentioned before hands-on labs. I would always recommend hands-on labs to our partners. It's a completely free engagement, allows you to get hands-on with the tooling. Very, very important. And the final one here is our 6pivot partnership. So if you have a customer who's particularly interested in AI and you're not really sure how to navigate that conversation, 6pivot is a brilliant partnership that we have that allows you to kind of do rapid AI prototyping. They help with pre-sale support, and they'll help you with proof of concept designing as well. So they are a very, very good resource. I would reach out to your account manager if you have customers who are interested in AI workloads, but they'll take you from 0 to 100 and help you get prototypes and proof of concepts up and running very, very quickly. So if you have any questions, please let me know. There's a Q&A function on this meeting. Drop any questions in there. I'll remain on the meeting as well to answer those as we go. Also, feel free to reach out to me or your account manager for any additional questions. And I'll hand back over to Deepshika, who's going to introduce our next speaker.
Now we have got Julie from Microsoft, and she'll be taking us through what is SMB solution designations for Azure, right? And how it can empower and help you grow your business and unlock the huge potential and the possibilities for different programs where you can engage and ticket support from Microsoft for your customers. After you, Julie.
Perfect. Thank you. I gather I can move the slides. Can I? Oh, okay. Awesome. Really lovely to meet all of you. You have fantastic leadership and opportunity to work with Paxate on developing your business. But the key things I want you to think about before I move into this section, look at what is a profitable customer for you today, and then work out what is a profitable customer for you tomorrow. And the reason Paxate are delivering this, and the reason you went through the Azure Fast Start program, was because you clearly see that opportunity and want to have that better engagement. The other thing that I think is really important is everything is changing from a technical conversation to much more of a business outcome conversation. So really having a great understanding of your customers is hugely important. The other thing I want to emphasize before I run through this is I am everything Azure, and solution designations go across the spectrum. So although I'm going to be focusing in this scenario around Azure, really look at your business, where you've been successful, where you're profitable, and what customers are gaining huge value from your organisation because they did choose you. Is you don't have to go down the path that I'm looking at here, but certainly do look at your business, and this is everything Azure. Has anybody, and please put a thumbs up, actually got a solution designation at the moment? I have another question. Does anyone have a silver or gold competency? So everybody's quite new. Excellent, really good to know. And my final question, or I've got two actually, are you servicing customers on-prem at the moment who have an interest in moving to an Azure service? Oh, you weren't sure if you could put your thumbs up. Right, I see. So look, the reason I'm asking you those questions is because when we look at going through specializations, it's quite important that you align your technical resources to where your skill set is and the types of customers that you have. So if we look at solution partner designations, what they're designed to do is actually build credibility of the capability in your business to deliver those outcomes to customers. So it's a comfort for customers. It's also a comfort for Microsoft and the extended partner network who you will be working with to deliver these types of outcomes. There is also benefit in regards to making sure that on the Microsoft Partner Network, you have all of the credibility in regards to case studies, in regards to capability listed there. So internally in Microsoft and also external customers can reach out to you and basically it can attract customers to you based on those outcomes. There is a benefits guide and I will discuss the benefits in a minute, but the key element here is really picking where you want to focus. And if I focus, for example, on solution partner for infrastructure for Azure, it is really taking simple steps in a process, if that's your defined solution area, to create these outcomes, which is gaining net customers, adding the certifications of your technical team, advanced certifications, and also ACR. So the whole concept is working through this process. You need to get 70 points to actually gain an accreditation. And once you've actually got that solution designation, what that actually means is you're able to apply for particular funding programs within Microsoft. It doesn't just become a badge on your website. It is really critical because the capability that you actually achieve within your technical team leads to opportunities where we can actually work with Pax8 and yourself on joint marketing activities, really drive further opportunity for your business based on the type of solution area that you're focused on. Okay, so this gives you an example, particularly around infrastructure. And because this is today's conversation, I think this is quite an important slide. So we've worked on criteria where we've moved from just an enterprise or SMC model, which is sort of mid-market for those who don't understand Microsoft acronyms, to an SMB model. And this is where, when you look at it, the bar isn't set as high as it would be for, say, an enterprise partner. So you can actually look at these elements and really work out in your business the current capabilities you have, the technical training that you require to be able to move forwards and achieve those accreditations. Gaining customers we'll talk about in a minute, and also just looking at if you have any customers transacting ACR at the moment, then what's your growth projection? And when you're doing these types of things, what I would also look at is how do you build that into your broader plan of your growth as a business, because this all fits in, and then we're very happy to support and grow that with your existing customers and attract new ones. So as you can see, the process is fairly straightforward. Get 70 points, you get your solution designation, and because we're moving from a bronze, silver, gold model to this, it actually is a really, really, really good time for you guys to achieve that for the SMB market. There are so many resources, and I have 150,000 different areas to point you in the direction of. But what I would say, the key ones are Azure Cloud Weeks. They are excellent. They have sales threads and also technical led threads, and so it's everybody is a community together. You can gain huge amounts of information and data around developing out your Azure capability from a sales as well as a marketing and technical perspective, which is really great. On the Microsoft Partner Network, whoever is your admin, please make sure you've updated everything that's relevant to the capabilities of your business, because that's what we look at. That's what customers look at. It is hugely important in defining what that means for us when we're looking at anything. The walking decks, I believe that Deep's going to have delivered a document which includes all of these links for you to have a reference afterwards. And Azure infrastructure, there's just a huge amount of assets. So in respect to simplifying it, I think it's really, really critical to again look at the data that Elliot was referring to. That is critical to this whole process, because if you go through with your channel account manager and then define where am I at in my process in regards to potential with Azure, then you can then define what your path forward is for each customer. But what I would suggest is just pick one customer and pick one workload. I think it's really important to make them feel understood in regards to, the complexity that we have here around what next. And Microsoft have done an excellent job in regards to making that process more simple for partners like yourselves to understand with the Cloud Ascent data. It is an understanding based on their metrics, but you understand the customers better than Microsoft because you're closer. So it's really picking and defining and working through that information and then going, where next for this customer? How can I move my profitable customer today into, a profitable customer for tomorrow? But the way that is all achieved is by helping them succeed in their business, creating better efficiency within their business and also better connection with their customers. Okay. Microsoft created this slide, and this is actually a very old slide. The reason I'm sharing it is they say simple opportunities, and I sort of agree with that. But for somebody who's new to Azure, it could look complex. But to Elliot's point, if you're very highly skilled around modern work, you're sort of looking at doing a bit of dynamics or modernizing environments or getting into security, then Azure Virtual Desktop is definitely something that is worth looking into. Azure Backup is straightforward. If you are servicing customers on-prem at the moment, whether in a private cloud or on site, just try backup or site recovery. And these skill sets can all be supported by the Pax8 professional services team in actually working through these designs. We also have, alongside the class data, the opportunity, which is the most exciting thing, about either Microsoft or Pax8 or jointly working on doing free SMB assessments. This is amazing. So you can get a good view of what the customer is wanting to achieve from the point of view of understanding their business outcomes, and then do an assessment and then align what the next steps for that customer would be based on the outcomes of those assessments. And I think when we look at things like just adding one virtual machine, keep it simple. This is sort of like you want to run a marathon, but the next day you don't run 26 miles. What you do is you run a kilometre. Okay, so this is where we help you step by step, jointly, all of us, in your progression as a technical business, helping customers in Australia achieve outcomes around Microsoft technology. When I say understand your customer, I also actually mean understand your own business and be customer zero for the technology that you're looking to go out and promote and sell to your customers. You sell way better when you're using everything yourself. And the point I was going to come to in regards to the solution designations is there's a lot of internal use benefits that enable your internal business to consume all the technology that you are looking to promote to customers. And when it's done in every part of a customer's business, as in your own, everyone is more enthusiastic about it. So that is really, really important. Understanding your customer, I would say actually understand your customer more, because you do. But the point is once you have that business outcome, then ultimately the next step is keep it really simple. Move one workload for one customer. And that's your start point. And all the expertise in the Pax8 team, from the technical support, the go-to-market, the ability to get your internal team up to speed from all of these perspectives, is available to you, and also with Microsoft supporting as well. Our strapline, I guess, is customer first. So everything is the customer, which is your customer. You're all our customers, and partner always. So to what Elliot was talking about before, if there's capability that your customer needs to achieve outcomes alongside or in addition to what you're delivering to them, the partnering opportunity is huge. Pax8 have a huge partner network of capability, internal capabilities within their business as well, to really, drive the outcomes and the value to the customer. At the end of the day, they will see huge benefit from engaging in that process rather than them having to deal with lots of different partners as well. And I think from a final point of view, I really just want you to go back to the question, which is, what is a profitable customer for me today? What issues am I trying to solve in my own business? What opportunities are out there that I'm trying to bring into my business? And then also, what is a profitable customer for the future? And that's hopefully what you can get from this webinar, and who you need to engage with to achieve those outcomes. Partner always, customer first, people at the centre, which is all of us working together. And I think that's me.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie. So moving on next, guys. Thanks, Elliot. Thanks, Julie, for presentation. I'll summarize the whole of the thing, guys. A good point to get started is that you don't have to kind of hunt for new Azure opportunities. You can look at within your own existing customer base by tapping into the Cloud Ascent data, right? If you're finding it a bit complex, speak to your channel account managers at Pax8, and we can have a one-on-one session with you to help you review that data, right? Once you have identified that one top account of yours where you want to kind of pursue and have a sales opportunity, we can have one free pre-sales consultation with our support team. And for all of your other potential customers, when in future you want to grow into Azure, we can offer free Azure rapid migration assessment to them so that they can get a view, they can get a copy what the environment will look like if they take a step towards the cloud. So everybody, both Microsoft and Pax8 is jointly there to help you. Do reach out to your CAM, so you can drop a mail to me as well directly at drun@pax8.com, and we'll be there to support you. I will be sending the copy of this deck with all the links that's been shared from Pax8 Academy and Microsoft so that you can look at it later or do the kind of training on the Pax8 Academy site. Thank you.